There was one TV show so influential, it made an entire country love basketball. Yet outside of Asia, almost no one's even heard of it, including me. But one day, something weird happened. I was watching this YouTube video, some guy in Japan asking people, "What's your favorite anime?" Most of the answers were what you'd expect, but one show kept coming up.
Again, and again, and again.
スラムダンクです。
スラムダンク。
Slam Dunk. I'd never heard of it, so I looked it up. A basketball anime from the 90s. Barely any reviews, but the reviews it did have, insanely positive. And somehow it was widely considered the greatest sports show of all time. But if it's that good, why has almost nobody outside of Asia seen it? And more importantly, why is this the greatest sports show of all time? After watching both the anime and the most recent movie, I think it comes down to 3 big reasons. And the first one might surprise you. Let's start with what I think is the smartest storytelling choice Inoue made, and it's probably not what you expect. Since basketball was a niche sport in Japan, most manga readers had never even played it. So what did Inoue do? He made the main character just like the audience, completely new to the game. Meet Sakuragi, a hot-headed high school delinquent who's been rejected by 50 girls. He hates basketball because girl number 50 turned him down for a guy on the basketball team. But then something unexpected happens. A girl named Haruko notices how tall and athletic he is. For Sakuragi, it's love at first sight. She asks him, "Do you like basketball?" And without missing a beat, he lies, "I love it. After all, I'm an athlete." So just to impress her, he joins the basketball team. At first, he has no idea what he's doing. While the rest of the team practices, Sakuragi is stuck learning the basics. Dribbling, passing, layups, and as he learns, so does the audience. Each small improvement makes him more useful to the team, but he still makes a ton of mistakes. Losing the ball, missing layups, constant fouls. He's not a prodigy or some overpowered main character like in some other shows, but little by little, he gets better. Eventually, he discovers his superpower, rebounding. His freakish athleticism lets him jump higher than anyone, earning him the self-proclaimed title, the Rebound King. And by the end of the show, he can finally do a slam dunk. He even hits a clutch jump shot, which stuns everyone, but his transformation doesn't happen overnight. Even in the final episodes, Sakuragi is still learning, still training, still messing up. But that's what makes his story so rewarding. When he finally gets something right, it feels earned. His growth was an example that even if you're starting from zero, you can still become great. And that message hit home, because Sakuragi's journey sparked a wave of basketball fever in Japan and inspired a whole generation to play. But Sakuragi isn't the only reason Slam Dunk is special, because what really makes the show unforgettable is the team around him. In middle school, Mitsui was a basketball prodigy. He was named MVP of the National Middle School Tournament and had offers from every top high school in Japan, but he chose Shohoku for one reason: Coach Anzai. In the middle school finals, Mitsui's team was on the verge of defeat, and he was ready to give up, until Coach Anzai told him the most iconic quote from the show: "Until the very end, never lose hope. It's when you give up that the match is over." That moment changed everything. Mitsui led his team to victory, and from that day forward, he only wanted to play for Anzai. He dreamed of doing the same at Shohoku, leading them to the national championship. But then, it all fell apart. In his first year of high school, he had a serious knee injury. Unable to play, his dreams slipped away, so he gave up on basketball. By the time we meet him in the show, he's unrecognizable, a bitter gang leader who hates the basketball team, the very thing he once loved. He picks a fight with the team's new talented point guard, Miyagi, sending them both to the hospital. But he doesn't stop there. He escalates things even further, forcing the basketball team to fight against his gang, hoping to get them banned from the regional tournament. But then Coach Anzai walks in, and everything stops. When Mitsui sees the man who once believed in him, something inside him finally breaks. He drops to his knees, sobbing, confesses he wants to play basketball. It's one of the most powerful scenes in the entire show. Mitsui is given a second chance. He rejoins the team, vows to never fight again and becomes their deadly three-point shooter. But more importantly, he rediscovers who he is. Mitsui's redemption arc was one of my favorite parts of the show. But the team's point guard, we had to wait 26 years to get his backstory, and it was worth the wait. If Mitsui's story is about redemption, Miyagi's is about resilience. He's Shohoku's point guard, lightning fast, clever, the smallest guy on the court, and constantly underestimated. But that's never stopped him. He and Sakuragi bond right away, not just because they're teammates, because they're both loud, hot-headed, and heartbroken. For both, basketball starts as a way to impress a girl. For Miyagi, it's Ayako, the team's manager and his best friend. But there's more to the story. In the anime, we only get pieces of his past. We learned that he was hospitalized after a fight with Mitsui's gang, but it's not until the 2022 Slam Dunk movie that we finally get the full picture, and it changes everything. Miyagi's father died when he was a kid, leaving behind just him, his older brother, and their mom. His brother becomes his hero, teaching him basketball and encouraging him to dream. His brother's dream? To beat Suno, the #1 high school in Japan. But one day, his brother goes out fishing and never comes back. Miyagi is devastated, but he doesn't give up. He keeps playing basketball. He wears his brother's #7 jersey, and every time he steps on the court, it's for him. But just when things start looking up, life hits him again. Mitsui's gang sends him to the hospital. Then, a motorcycle accident nearly kills him. When he recovers, he returns to the team the next season to achieve his brother's dream. Miyagi's journey is inspiring, and the payoff in the Slam Dunk movie makes it even better. As you can already see, Shohoku is a team of troublemakers with lots of baggage. So with all these egos and emotions, they need a leader who can hold it all together. That leader is their captain and center, Akagi. Akagi is the backbone of Shohoku, the only reason the team hasn't completely fallen apart. Today, he's an elite and dominating player, but he wasn't always like this. When he first joined the team, he had height and raw strength, but he wasn't good offensively. So he went to work. While other players coasted, Akagi trained alone and obsessed over getting better at basketball. But for 2 years, he had no support. It was basically a one-man team, stuck carrying a team that didn't care and wasn't at his level. But he never gave up on his dream, to lead Shohoku to the national championship. And finally, in his third and final year, everything changed. Suddenly, he's surrounded by a talented squad. Sakuragi, the unpredictable athletic freak. Miyagi and Mitsui, back from injury and more motivated than ever. And a first-year prodigy, who we'll meet in just a minute. For the first time, Akagi isn't alone. He now has a team that can go toe-to-toe with Japan's best. So he finally has a shot at achieving the dream he's been chasing for years, and you can feel how much it means to him. Akagi's leadership and discipline turns this band of misfits and troublemakers into a formidable team. And the most formidable player of all is who I saved for last, Rukawa. Rukawa barely speaks and has a massive fan club. All he cares about is basketball. His one goal? Become the best high school player in Japan. He's calm, quiet, and a basketball prodigy. Basically the exact opposite of Sakuragi. So naturally, they hate each other. But they also push each other to get better. Their back and forth is one of the funniest parts of the show. More on that in a second. But first, we don't get much of Rukawa's backstory in the anime. What we do get is simple. Despite being a first-year student, he's Shohoku's best player. He dominates. But there's something you might not know. Rukawa is actually based on a young Michael Jordan, and he's not the only one with real-life inspiration. In fact, Slam Dunk's entire cast was based on NBA players and coaches. The most obvious example is Sakuragi. Red hair, elite rebounding, and a late start to basketball, that's Dennis Rodman. And here's the inspiration for the rest of the Shohoku team. And Shohoku's red jerseys, based on the Chicago Bulls. So it makes perfect sense that their coach was inspired by Bulls legend Phil Jackson, the Zen Master. And in Slam Dunk, that Zen Master is Coach Anzai, known as the white-haired Buddha. In the end, Slam Dunk is filled with incredible basketball moments, but what sticks with you the most is the characters. Every character has depth, flaws, and something to prove. Which brings us to reason 3, Slam Dunk is so special. It's hilarious. Most anime today follows the same formula. A serious plot with a joke or two sprinkled in. But Slam Dunk, a show from 1993, every episode is funny. And it's all because of one character, Sakuragi, the self-proclaimed basketball genius, who's never played basketball before. But despite that, he has unlimited confidence, even while doing stuff like missing wide open dunks, shooting over the basket, and even scoring for the other team. And when he does make a good play, you'd think he just won the NBA Finals. He can't stop laughing, and neither could I. But the one person who wasn't laughing, Akagi, the team captain. Akagi slowly loses his mind every time Sakuragi does something dumb, which is constantly. And watching this responsible, serious captain try to control this chaotic and unpredictable Sakuragi, it never got old. But to me, the funniest part of Slam Dunk was the rivalry between Sakuragi and Rukawa. Sakuragi sees Rukawa as his rival for 2 reasons. The first reason, Sakuragi is in love with Haruko, but Haruko loves Rukawa. And the second reason, Rukawa is a better player. Sakuragi takes his rivalry to the extreme. He refuses to pass to Rukawa, even if it's the wide open game-winning play. And when he accidentally does pass to him and Rukawa scores, Sakuragi is devastated. There's also one scene where he pretends to be nice to Rukawa. He apologizes for his past behavior and then does this. Another time, after the fight with Mitsui's gang, Sakuragi sees the guy who beat up Rukawa and pats him on the back, saying he did a good job beating up Rukawa. Sakuragi isn't just a rival, he's Rukawa's #1 hater. So to recap, Slam Dunk became a cultural phenomenon in Asia because of its beginner-friendly approach, its great characters, and its constant and timeless humor. But if Slam Dunk is this good, why had most Americans never heard of it? When Slam Dunk came out in 1993, it was a cultural phenomenon in Asia. Millions of Asian kids grew up watching it. But in America, kids were watching shows like Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon instead, because Slam Dunk wasn't even an option. There was no official TV dub, no TV broadcast, not even a badly dubbed VHS tape from Blockbuster. Nothing. The first time Slam Dunk did show up in America was 2005, 9 years after the show ended. Toei Animation released it on DVD, but it was a total disaster. The picture quality and the subtitles were not the best, so they pulled the plug after only 3 months. Slam Dunk had never stood a chance, but today that's changed. Slam Dunk finally came to Netflix in September 2024, and you can now stream the entire show for free on the Toei Animation YouTube channel. But it wasn't just bad DVDs or a lack of licensing deals that held Slam Dunk back in America. It was timing. In 2005, anime in America was just starting to blow up. The most popular shows were Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, and Naruto. They all had one thing in common. Cool stuff like superpowers, magic, and giant explosions. And then you've got Slam Dunk. No aliens, no ninjas, no special attacks you shout the name of when you use it, just some high school kids playing basketball. So honestly, that made Slam Dunk look kinda boring by comparison. But if Slam Dunk came out today, I think it would be a hit. Because now, anime in America is way more popular. And shows like Haikyuu and Blue Lock have proved that sports anime can work. Whenever people ask me, what are your top 5 animated shows of all time? Honestly, I usually stop at 4, because nothing ever felt like it deserved that 5th spot. Until I watched Slam Dunk. When I started, I didn't even care about basketball. But by the end, something surprising happened. I remember talking to someone who said they played basketball in high school. I asked if their team played box plus 1, a strategy mentioned in the show, and they laughed. They were surprised I knew what that was. So Slam Dunk didn't just teach me about basketball, It gave me a new way to connect with people. It made me care about a team that didn't even exist. With characters who felt so real, I still think about where they are now after the show. And there's a reason for that. Takahiko Inoue, the creator, once said, "You write part of yourself when you create a story." He wasn't guessing what basketball felt like. He remembered. He remembered because he lived it. You can feel that in every scene. That's what makes Slam Dunk special. It's not just a sports story. It's a reminder of what you can achieve through hard work, that people can change, and to never give up until the very end. So here's my challenge to you. If you love sports, or great characters, or just want to feel inspired by a great story, watch Slam Dunk. Because then, maybe, I'll finally have someone I can talk to about this amazing show.